You are watching
Trinity Episcopal School Production Network. TESPN.
All right, welcome to this week's TESPN Podcast. And this week, it's a little bit different than what we normally do. We are talking to a couple of Trinity athletes, but most of their competing has been done not in Titan colors, but in the horse showing arena. And so we have seniors Sam Aisenberg and Ella Adams, who both are competitive horseback riders and have had a lot of success with that. And we're also joined this week by Laura Weiler, who herself was a champion horseback rider as a child. And Sam, starting with you on signing day back in November signed to ride at South Dakota State. So two-part question. First, why South Dakota State? We haven't had a ton of Titans go there. And secondly, can you explain to folks like me who don't know a lot about college riding what that entails?
Yeah, so I was definitely a little hesitant when I went and visited, but once I visited, I realized it was kind of the same as every other college, just a college atmosphere, and they had a really good football team too, which was exciting, and the coach was really sweet, so that's kind of why I chose it. And then college riding, it's a lot more fair than what we do now because obviously there's home team advantage because you have your own horses, but you get paired with someone from a different school, but you're on the same horse. So it's kind of who rides the horse better. And it's about how you ride the horse, not how the horse performs.
Oh, that's cool. And then, Ella, we were talking off camera before we started filming. You're still thinking about riding in college. And I know you and I talked about that even back when I was teaching you in 10th grade, that you might want to do that. You're not totally sure. But can you talk about what you're looking for in a potential college riding program for you personally?
Yeah, I just didn't want to take it to the higher level like Sam was. I was more thinking about staying focused more on academics because I'm the type of person that would focus more of the athlete than the student part of student athlete. And mainly, I just want to keep it lower key, and I might ride on a polo team, trying something new for once. But because the school I'm looking at doesn't have a club team, but my second school has a D1 team that I might consider riding on, and a club team as well. So we'll see when that gets there.
So for both of you, having ridden for such a long time, thinking about riding in the college setting and ending a partnership with the horses that you've worked with for so long, what does that feel like, and how are you just getting ready for that kind of emotional change?
Well, my lease with my most recent horse, Leah, just ended at the beginning of November, so that change this whole month was definitely a big one because after school every day I would just go out to the barn and ride, and then not leasing him, I didn't have that anymore, so I kind of already experienced that change. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying something new at college.
My lease just recently ended in early October with my horse Sparrow, but we just recently got another one because unlike Sam, I have another what's called a junior year left, which it's once before you turn 18, you're competing at the level called the juniors, and it's a lot higher stake and a lot more competition, and it's a lot more stressful than I would say the adults are. But I have another year because their new year is not like how I guess the calendar year. The new year actually starts tomorrow. And Sam's birthday was
She just had it.
Yeah, so she's technically 18 now. So now she's 18 before the next year. So then I'm still 17. So I show as a year younger than what I actually am for most of the year. But I'm excited to see what this summer season has to offer before I go off to college and maybe ride. We'll see. But
So Sam, are you a little bit not bitter, but like a little bit of a bummer that if you were born like a couple weeks later, you'd have one more year of juniors?
It is a little annoying because I'm like the youngest adult now,
Right.
whereas like people that turn 18 tomorrow are the oldest junior. So
Even though they're like, when was your
same
birthday?
age.
10 days ago, something
it
like
was
that?
like it was Tuesday, so
Oh,
2 days
two
ago.
2 days ago. Oh,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask both of you because I know, and we talked about this, especially when I taught both of you in 10th grade, how much time you put into your craft of horseback riding. And Miss Weiler as well knows the early mornings, the grooming, weekends, and we have tons of committed, passionate student athletes here, but most of them are competing in a Trinity uniform, so at least within the school community, people know about the sacrifices of time and energy and resources that go into it. But because your sport is outside of like the traditional high school athletics, did you ever feel like people didn't fully understand just how much you were giving up, missing out on a lot of social events and that type of thing? And also as a follow-up to that, did you ever question, like, was it worth it, or you always knew, like, this is the life I want to, and this is what I love the most?
Yeah, I mean, we miss so much school for it, and it's not like we miss it and we get to sleep in. We miss it and we wake up at 4 a.m. to go braid our horse, muck our horse's stall, get them ready for the show, ride them in the ring before the show starts. And that's like just the show part. After school, we go out and ride. We ride our horse, we ride other people's horses. And we ride every weekend, every day of the week.
But no regrets?
Well, I mean, definitely when I'm a little, like, annoyed, I would guess, with my horse or things aren't working, that can be, like, I'm like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this, but then there's always, you work through it, you get out of it.
Yeah, like, kind of like what Sam said, it's early mornings on the weekends. We have to leave school because most shows start, like, Wednesday and go through Sunday. So we miss Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of school, and it's not like we're not doing anything at the show. We're mucking stalls, getting horses ready, getting them ready for other people, constantly walking around, like figuring out what the course is going to be. It's not like we really get to break much, and I feel like some people, most people don't understand that anything about horses and what we do. So I feel like that's something that can be a bit annoying at times. It's like people don't think that what we do is that difficult and hard, and like it takes up time, a lot of time, to get to that level. And I mean, it's also, I think, annoying for us sometimes seeing we're not, like, I guess, the most wealthy in the horse industry. So like there's a ton of people with grooms that just show up at the show, and they don't have to do too much.
The dirty work for them.
The grooms do everything. But I mean, I've never had too many regrets about it. I've done it for so long now that it's pretty much just every day go out there. I mean, it gets annoying when it's cold, but it's what I do.
Yep.
So, Sam, something you and I have talked about before is just the incredible level of independence that's required to compete at that level. Oftentimes you're not with your parents, you're going off on your own for days at a time, and just the level of independence in terms of care for your horse, for yourself, for your equipment. I think both of you have displayed really amazing ability to balance your time and to show that independence, and often when it doesn't go noticed necessarily by your peers, although I think it's really helped the two of you bond and have a great friendship through high school. But I guess the question would be, what kind of growth are you proud of that you've been able to experience during your high school years that was forged out of the need to be independent and to do things for yourself and build that resilience?
The past year or 2 years, I've been going to most of my horse shows without my parents, so that has definitely taught me a lot of independence and how to do things on myself and time management, I guess, with missing school and having to do that work with not having a lot of time to do it at the horse shows. Has taught me a lot of independence.
See, my parents still come to shows because they really like coming to them. It gives them something to do. My parents like supporting me a lot, and like they take off. I don't know. I mean, for my mom's job, she has to know when a horse show is, and she takes off and really wants to come down and help me and see me succeed. But but she doesn't know. She's never ridden in her past, so it's still pretty independent what I do because no one in our family has any experience with horses. So I feel like I'm still having to do things very independently.
Well, you've been here since 8th grade, so what kind of growth have you seen amongst yourself of, as you become a young adult, still a junior? But
Yes. I've seen my patience grow a lot. I've seen me staying humble a lot more because it's not getting to the higher level. You realize that, you're never really going to be the top if you don't have, like, the
certain benefits.
the benefits.
Right.
And
Yet it's still rewarding.
it is still rewarding when you can get to the top shows and qualify for them. And it's just been, I've just watched myself grow and start to jump higher, and I've really liked growing with my I guess old horse now over the past 3 years.
Yeah, those partnerships are incredible, and I think both of you have so much of which to be proud, and that often comes in the little moments and the little successes, and not necessarily, as you said, the big, huge championships. Although you've had plenty of those as well.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask you all, because you have done some sports here at Trinity. Obviously you don't have the time to devote to, full-time varsity level athletics, but both of you played tennis, did some volleyball. Elle, I think you said you did field hockey for a year or two. So at least you have a point of comparison between what you do with riding and what it's like to be on a high school team. And I just was wondering if you all could describe that contrast of what it was like to be, let's say, like on tennis team here at Trinity versus your individual riding, which, although I'm sure you have like friends out there that support you, at the end of the day it's just you on that horse.
It was definitely really nice to have like a change, like because I'd never done a team sport. I played soccer when I was really little, but I didn't really have that team in middle school, I guess. So it was definitely nice to have that coming into high school. But it was definitely really stressful too, because I would go from the volleyball or tennis to go ride my horse after school, and when it started getting darker earlier, we don't have an indoor ring, so it's all outside. So it got a little tricky with that. But
Do you ride in the dark?
we have a ring that has lights, but it's like just the corners of the rings are lighted, so it's not very well lit.
I didn't ride as consistently in my 8th grade year, so field hockey was fine. When I did volleyballs, when I started getting more consistent, but that was COVID, so practices weren't long. It was outside.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't that much to it. But when I did sophomore tennis, I really liked being on a team because we have a riding team at our barn, which we do have technically a team. But I liked being on a team with my school, with teammates from school, but like Sam said, it did get really stressful because we would have to be leaving practices early to go try and make the lesson before it got dark. But then normally I would do the late lesson in our small ring with the lights, but it's very tiny and it's meant for some of the lesson ponies, but when you're trying to jump big jumps in a tiny ring, it can get hard. But
Do you have any more questions?
I just wanted to point out that both of you have had a great deal of success in equitation, and so for people that are less familiar, that's when the rider is being evaluated, not necessarily the horse, and it requires an incredible level of detail-oriented work, and you are supposed to look as though you're doing nothing, and your horse is just magically going around the ring, and your body position and the way that you execute these really complex challenges that are thrown before you over fences and on the flat, that's really what the judges are assessing, and it requires real precision and detail-oriented focus. And the littlest things become the biggest things. And so it's just been a real credit to both of you, because no matter how nice your horse, at the end of the day, they're looking at you. And to have, and I know Sam, particularly in your case, to have success and to have met goals that you've had literally since you were 9 years old, and to have that happen at the end of your junior career on a horse that you've worked so hard to bring along, is just an incredible culmination. And I think it does speak to what both of you have talked about, of that hard work and that daily grind and the payoff that comes. And it can come in big moments and it can come in small moments, but they're incredibly meaningful. And I think both of you are going to walk away from Trinity with the really important lesson to value all of the kinds of moments that you experience in your life, and what it is like to see the payoff after so many years of commitment and all the things that you have sacrificed and given up, and to work with another being, whether it's an animal or a teammate, and just the amazing benefits that can come from that. And so I think regardless of whether you ride Ella or Sam, the kind of experience that you have in South Dakota, I think both of you can look back at this time and feel an incredible sense of pride and accomplishment in all you've done, and often kind of unseen by others, at least in the Trinity community. So we are incredibly proud of both of you, and it's just so refreshing to be able to speak with both of you today, and what wonderful members of our community you are. So thank you both, and best wishes going forward. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would have been a perfect last word, but we got a little bit more to do here, because I did have one more question that I really want to get to, and then we also want to do a quick little lightning round at the end too. But one of my favorite things about getting to work with young people is when they have a passion and when they talk about their passion. It's really invigorating for us as educators, and I know especially when y'all were in 10th grade, and even last year when you would spend some time in my room during your study hall. I know nothing about horseback riding, but talking to you all about it and seeing how passionate you were was really inspiring. But also the question I have is, you two have had each other, and I'd love for you, since you do ride at the same barn, and you've been friends even before Trinity, and you've been best friends through this 4, and in Ella's case 5 years here. Can you just talk about the relationship that you two have with each other?
It's really nice to have Ella here. It's someone I can always count on to come to with, whether it's school or riding, especially because no one really gets that other than her. So that's a really special connection we have.
Yeah, like you said, we've known each other for a long time. Our parents, our grandparents went to school together, and so we've known each other's family a lot. And like what Sam said, we could have a rough day at the barn, something could happen in a lesson that not a lot of people would understand. Like, most people would be like, oh, it's probably your fault. But like, sometimes you're like, it's not me. It's sometimes it's just both of you, you're riding another being. Like, both of you could have an off day, and it can be really frustrating at times, and just knowing I have someone at school that understands the same thing is really nice.
That's great. Well, let's end with a little lightning round, mostly non-equine questions, but I might throw a couple horse questions in there too. All right, let's start with, do you have a pre-show song or music that you listen to get in the zone?
I didn't really until one show I was just sitting there. I was like, I need some music, and then what did I put on? It was like some 2000 throwback playlist. I just sat there and I was like sitting with Ella. We were just like,
we kind of listen. We'll share an AirPod and like
just
listen to 2000s. It's
nice. What's been your favorite class at Trinity?
Probably yours, sophomore year.
Thank you.
Probably maybe like my 8th grade science was really fun.
All right, between the two of you, which one's funnier?
Probably Ella.
You say,
Probably.
yeah, you say you. What's your favorite horse that you've ever ridden?
My most recent one, Leo.
Sparrow.
And what's your favorite show that you've gone to or place to compete?
Tryon in North Carolina.
Yes.
Capital Challenge and Prince George.
And 10 years from now, where do you think you will be and what will you be doing?
Hopefully, I will have my own horse and showing in some adult type of competition.
Hopefully I'll have some ranch down in Texas and have horses down in Texas.
Who's your favorite athlete?
Jessica Springsteen.
A horse or
Whoever.
horse?
Could be
I don't know.
Serena
That's my
Williams.
favorite horse athlete.
Yeah.
Little known fact too, whose daughter is just
Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, rich people.
Oh, the boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Phillips, that's for you.
Well, I'm a Patriots fan, so Tom Brady.
Yeah. See, I thought Ella was gonna say Tony
I
Romo
know,
or
I
Dak
thought she was gonna go
Prescott. So
Cowboys.
yeah.
Well, maybe
um,
Tony Paul.
Let's do a couple more. What is something, we try and keep it quick, but what is something that the average person would never know about what riding's like?
The time.
It's not, the horse doesn't do it for you. It's much harder than that.
And finally, what is one word, Sam, that you would use to describe Ella? And Ella, what's one word you would use to describe Sam?
Determined.
There's many words. I would say calm.
All right, well, calm, I guess, is the last word, but this has been really fun. Definitely different than when we normally talk to, Trinity athletes that wear the Titan uniform, but you all have represented the school and yourselves and your families incredibly well. And anyone watching this, rewind about 3 to 5 minutes ago, I think what Ms. Weiler said about how proud we are of these two was a beautiful encapsulation for their youth careers in riding. And great thing about this sport is you can keep doing it for a long, long time. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and thank you, Ms. Weiler, as well for filling in as a guest equestrian expert, and we'll see you next time.